Welcome to the Sales Management Fireside Chat Series. I'm Stephen Rosen, your host, and I'm very excited today to have my friend, great guy, and sales management guru, Mike Weinberg, join me today for a special edition of Sales Management Fireside Chat Series. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of Star Results, a boutique sales leadership development, coaching, and consulting organization. Our belief is that sales leaders are the key to driving sales performance in organizations, and we provide them with the tools, processes, and mentoring they need to be able to crush their sales numbers. Our mission is to create thousands of master sales coaches who will help their sales teams and organizations consistently drive stellar sales results. I believe the best and most rewarding way I can achieve our mission is by educating, coaching, training, and mentoring, and transforming sales managers into great sales leaders. Becoming a star sales leader will elevate one's career, income, and professional success. Today, Mike and I are going to share our tips and hacks on how sales leaders can jumpstart the year and crush their sales numbers. For those of you who hang in to the end, I have a very special limited time offer to help you become a great sales coach. If you want to take your sales coaching to the next level and crush your sales numbers, this offer is for you, but you need to stay until the very end. I'm privileged to have, as I said, Mike Weinberg join me today at the fireside. Mike is a consultant, sales coach, speaker, and author on a mission to simplify sales. His specialties are new business development and sales management. His passion is helping companies and salespeople win more new sales. Before launching his own firm, Mike was a top producing salesperson at 3 companies. Forbes named Mike a top sales influencer, and other publications list him as a #1 sales expert to follow on Twitter. Mike has workshops on 5 continents in the past year and is the author of 3 Amazon best-selling books. New Sales Simplified is a 7-year bestseller and has been named the #3 most highly rated sales book of all time. Mike has 3 great books out there. They're shown at the bottom. And his second book, Sales Management Simplified, has been called arguably the best book ever written on sales management, and named by Inc. magazine and HubSpot as the #1 book every sales leader should read. Mike's contact information is up there. You can reach Mike at info@mikeweinberg.com. I've left his phone number up there, as well as a link to his website, which is Mike Weinberg, all one word.com. And of course, my contact information is up there as well. And let me just close off by saying Mike is a native New Yorker who's lived in St. Louis for 25 years. He has 3 young adult children and has been told that his wife, Katie, is still the best proof that he can really sell. Let's welcome this month's special guest, Mike Weinberg, to the fireside. Mike, wow, I'm so excited to have my good friend Mike Weinberg join me today. And it's an interesting thing. It's called a circle of life because the first fireside chat I did was with Mike Weinberg, and Mike had suggested the idea. And I kind of was lukewarm to it, but it's a great way. People get bored of watching PowerPoint slides. So I'm really lucky because he's very busy. He's 1, traveling all over the world, and 2, speaking to groups of leaders. So Mike, welcome to the fireside.
This is so much fun. Thank you for inviting me back and chasing me down. I love the first time we did this. So looking forward to talking sales management, Stephen.
So let's talk sales management, and let's get right at her, as someone I know says. Let me ask you, you've been talking to sales leaders on a very close basis, and what, we're starting a new year. So what would you say are the 2 or 3 things that a sales leader needs to do? Because, they set the pace, right? For the whole team. And it could be the sales executive, it could be the sales manager. I look at a sales leader, what are the 2 or 3 things that they need to do to make sure the year gets off to a running start?
Wow. Let me pick up on something you said even before your question, because I think people will blow by it. You said the sales leader, whether it's the senior executive or the sales manager, is the key. can I just put like a double exclamation mark after that? I've even changed some of the focus of my business to spend more time with sales leaders because I'm so frustrated with companies that are looking to spend a lot of money on sales training, but ignore the development of their sales leader. You could train the salespeople till you're blue in the face, and they could all do better. Believe me.
Yep. Yeah,
They could be
yeah,
more
I'm with you.
strategic and target. They could spend more time selling. They could be more consultative. They could run better sales calls. They could prospect more. I get all that. But if you don't deal with sales leadership and culture and accountability and talent management and on the big sales leadership issues, nothing's going to change for the long term. So you said it so subtly, and I'm like, wait, that's as big a point as anything we're going to talk about. And if you got senior leaders hearing us, you can't get the culture and the results you want for the long term if you don't up the sales management game, because that person is responsible for the culture on their own team. So that's where I'd start. And you ask a broad question to get the year off to a good start. What do you need to do? I'd say a couple things, and one is you've got to set the tone without being an asshole and without micromanaging. Can I say asshole on your show? Is that okay?
In Canada, that's a compliment.
I'm just glad you got your electricity up in Canada.
I don't want to be flagged as someone who has a foul mouth, but I'm with you. In fact, that's one of the kinder words I use.
Okay, so one is, and this is where I feel like Stephen and you and I have talked about this in the past. It's really trendy today to talk about sales enablement and coaching, and we both love those things. And you have a whole business helping managers be better coaches. But I think what has slipped in some companies is lack of accountability. So one of the things you can do to get your culture right and really focused on results is have better one-on-one meetings where you not just coach, but you also review results together and have your people answer for their actual performance against their goal and the health of their pipeline. So that would be number one.
Okay.
And then number two.
So I'm going to stop you there.
Okay, great.
Let's dig in, because I call that cadence. And some people call it management rhythm. And I just want to say one thing along your point, because, and I'm not downing anything, right? Like we talked about sales enablement. And companies think the silver bullet, right? The silver bullet is we're just going to get one more add-on to our sales force, and that's going to solve all our issues. And just to sort of piggyback on what you said, unless, first of all, Salesforce doesn't tick unless your management team is behind it and assuring that there's accountability and compliance, right? So these are our lost warriors. So a few of us really get it and are attuned to that. And then cadence, because I think without cadence, and what I refer to cadence is, it could be your monthly meetings, it could be quarterly business reviews, it could be your overall interactions, but what rhythm do you follow? And establishing that at the beginning of the year, because reps get nervous when you say, hey, I'm going to meet with you monthly. But if you set the expectation, and I've read your book, and I like your approach to, in terms of reviewing, looking activities, right? And then always focus forward. What is your plan for the next month? Because we spend a lot of time reviewing. Like, KPIs are great, but it's really, what's your plan for the next month? Because I can't change the month that's already happened.
Preach, brother. That is awesome.
We're like one mind, right?
Well, and here's the thing, and this is the strongest message I can share. Doing accountability doesn't have to come across like micromanagement.
No,
and
it doesn't.
You don't need to be a jerk or threaten people. Sales is about results. There's nothing politically incorrect or moral about talking about results with salespeople. Neither Stephen nor I are advocating being a jerk or being tough on people, but you can't manage a team if you're not focused on goals and results. You cannot have a healthy high performance culture if you don't talk about those things. So he and I are totally aligned, and I'm just going to go there because you brought it up. The whole tech stack thing and sales enablement, and I do make a little bit of fun of the sales enablement society.
I'm not surprised.
In my book, Sales Truth, because there's all these people running around telling you sales enablement is everything, even though they can't agree what sales enablement means. And there are thousands. Someone just did a count, one of our blogger buddies, I can't remember who it was, how many tens of thousands of sales tools there are and thousands of vendors telling you that you need our toy, our tool, our process, and that's why your sales team is struggling. And both of us would tell your listeners, that's not true. I've never seen a team really struggle because they were missing a tool. I see them struggle because the leader's not leading. and they're not doing accountability, and they don't work in the field, and they don't coach, and all the stuff that you preach. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just a reminder. Accountability is your job if you're leading a sales team.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So, okay. So we talked about setting cadence, right? And actually, I knew we'd get deep into stuff, but one of the things I talk about, if you set the expectation of this is how I'm going to do my review with you, my expectation is the sales rep comes prepared for that, right? So it's not micromanaging. If they know what the questions are, the whole reason why you're establishing these questions are so they ask themselves the questions when you're not there. Right, you're
Yeah.
just kind of like I tease about the theory of eight, but if you keep asking the same questions over and over again, people understand what you're looking for. It makes life simple, not complicated.
It's perfect.
Right, so self-managing.
Well, and there's another really powerful tip you shared that I don't want people to miss. Most of us in sales leadership are overworked and overwhelmed, and people calling you to corporate meetings and hundreds of emails. What Stephen just suggested is that these one-on-one meetings don't need to be a burden on you. And if you have your salesperson come to that meeting prepared to share, whether it's through the CRM or through something they hand you on paper or some document they're emailing you, but if they come prepared to review their results against goal, the health of their pipeline, what they've added in terms of funnel, what they've advanced, what their activity is against key accounts and opportunities they're working, there's no work for the sales manager. And I love what Stephen just said, is that it puts the onus on the salesperson, and you want them thinking this way, even if you weren't meeting with them. They should be asking themselves the questions.
And that's the whole idea of coaching or whatever we do, is we're only with the sales rep, if we're lucky, 1 day a month. We're doing a pretty good job. So I always say, what do you do in the other what do they do in the other 19 days? If they're asking themselves the right questions, which is what you set up, it's not an arduous process. I know your process for Cadence or for monthly meetings. The rep should be asking themselves the same questions. I do it to myself. What's my plan for the next month? And that's really, to me, I know the results and the activities, but at the end of the day, I'm always about focus forward, 80% of your time focusing forward. So if we can get the rep to be thinking that, okay, I'm not here to beat you up, for what's happened in the past. What I'm looking for is, what are your thoughts in terms of what you're going to do next? What's your plan? Whether you're at 110% and crushing it, or you're at 90%, but that you have a plan in place to move your business forward. Okay, so we talked about the beautiful thing of setting up and establishing, and I assume that's where you were going, of what it looks like in terms of setting up regular accountability meetings, right? And that's a key role of the sales manager, and even their boss should be doing the same thing. The senior person should be looking at their frontline sales manager and saying, okay, your team's performing well. What's the plan for next month, or what's the plan for the quarter? So I'm with you. It could become very simple. It's not a 3-hour meeting. That one, that's 45 minutes if the rep knows what you're asking for and they come prepared. Okay, so that's number one. Set up cadence. Is that right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
That's the Weinberg approach to guru sales management. Give me number 2 to kick off the year.
There's several things I think you can do. I'll take a low-hanging fruit here.
Okay.
You can upgrade your sales team meetings. So many sales team meetings are just drudgery. The manager doesn't want to be there. The salespeople don't want to be there. Everybody's playing on their phones. They're coming in with a lousy attitude. Let me give you my litmus test. Like, this is the one question I ask sales leaders about their sales team meetings. Do your people leave the meeting? And some of the meetings are face-to-face because you've got a regional team and you get them together. Maybe it's
local,
whatever. But sometimes you have really remote people and you're doing it online like this, or you're having a phone call. That's still a sales team meeting.
Of course.
Here's my one question. Do your people leave the meeting with A, more energy, and B, better equipped to do their job than when the meeting started? And if your meetings are like 90% of the ones I see in my clients, the answer is no.
Right.
They leave de-energized. You're having a meeting, but it's not a sales meeting. It's an operations planning meeting. It's an admin meeting. It's inappropriate accountability where you're beating people up in front of everybody else. Or that's not fun. That's not energizing. Your people need a meeting where they're contributing, they're debating, you're equipping them for selling, you're sharing best practices, you're doing deal strategy, they're contributing, they're reading a book together and highlighting things. I mean, a sales meeting should equip and energize your people. So if you're not having the kind of meeting that's doing that, my second tip to get the year off to a good start is think through what a good sales meeting should look like and get your people involved so that they're contributing and they're listening, because you want them leaving that meeting full of energy and empowered and envisioned, and also feeling a little competitive to go out and, beat their teammates.
Kill the competition.
Yes.
You want them riled up like in the locker room, ready to go out for the second quarter.
Yeah,
or the second half.
And right, not every sales manager is going to give that type of Vince Lombardi or Newt Rockney speech, but I think part of the challenge is most sales meetings stink is because the manager does all the work and all the talking.
I was patiently waiting.
Go.
No, so I mean, again, you kind of were subtle in that, but unless you get your people involved, and many moons ago when Moses brought down the 10 Commandments, I was a sales manager. And one of my
you look very good, and you look very good for your age.
Thank you. Well, I don't age. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so all joking aside, my people used to run those sales meetings because that's the one way to engage them. I hear it from managers too. Oh, my meetings, the reps are bored. And I think, well, do you run it? Of course they're fucking bored. Whoops. So the bottom line is, if you don't know what's going to engage your people, what do? Ask what they want from a meeting. Basically have them build an agenda that's going to be valuable to them. If you're using it as your meeting, I mean, we all go to show up at meetings, and most meetings are boring unless we've kind of bought into the concept of what we're doing. And, sales, as you know, I mean, you're also a guru within the sales group. Sales reps get beaten down on a daily basis. If you're coming into a meeting and not getting energized, where do you get energized? Maybe the gym. If you're disciplined, you go to the gym like you and me every morning. First thing.
More you than me. I need to get back there. Thanks for the coaching.
I'm just teasing you. I think both of us. But anyway, so outside that,
great. Yeah, I love it. So sales team meetings. I think if you upgrade your one-on-ones and you upgrade your sales team meeting, you're really going a long way to changing the tone and culture on your team.
Okay. Is there a third, or if not, I'm going to take liberties.
I mean, we could go a long way. You take liberties.
Okay.
It's your show. It's your show.
Hey, you're my guest. You're my guest, and with great books like I see behind you, I yield to your expertise. But joking aside, one of the things I really talk about, and you mentioned it, is coaching as a key factor to drive performance. And to kick off the year, one of my beliefs is that you need to develop individual development plans for each of your people as part of that process. And to me, it's focused on one area that's probably skill-based, whether it be improving one area of their selling skills, but to start the year that you have a plan. And a plan means a one-pager for me. Nothing more than, if it's more than one page, it's not a plan. It's a book. But focusing on what the individual's committed to working on, and then you have an agreement between yourself and each of your salespeople as to what they're committed to improving. Because the fact is, if you improve one area of your performance within a year, you're going to have much better results. And all the data shows that. The problem is, coaching without a plan becomes the infamous flavor of the day coaching. And you don't want to be, okay, today you got to work on your opening skills, and tomorrow you got to work on your probing skills. To change and improve, people need to have a plan. It's like, we just mentioned it very subtly about going to the gym, right? It's about a health plan, right? And if we don't put it to paper, it's very hard for it to happen. Even when we put it to paper, it's hard for it to happen. But as part of that coaching process, if you don't have one specific area that's committed, and to me, the best time is the beginning of the year, because that's going to at least happen. And you probably deal with companies where they have the old HR development plan, IDP, I think it's called. Well, if it's an HR plan, first of all, they happen, but nothing really happens, because twice in the year you look at it, then you say, okay, oh, we're doing okay. Or, you really haven't gotten to these things, but you've been busy, you've been creating sales, as opposed to a committed plan that the sales rep is committed to working in one area. And maybe if you look at exercise, maybe they want to build better biceps, just as a crazy example. And then that becomes a commitment to coach. It makes coaching a lot more fun, but it also establishes a plan between sales rep and manager.
Yeah, I love it, Stephen. And the other thing it does, I'm not going to add much there because I think you said it very clearly, though. It also shows you who is committed to winning and
Yes.
self-improvement. And one of
Yeah.
my mentors, Donnie Williams, who I write a lot about, he's always saying leaders are learners, and top salespeople feed themselves, and they ask you to push them, and they want to get better. And it tells you a lot about a person whose performance isn't great. And when you ask them for a coaching plan and you're working with them on a specific area, and they're not showing the hunger or the desire to up their game in that area that you both agreed we should be
Yeah.
working on, it's kind of telling you that they're done. They're there, they're on cruise control, they're complacent. And it's a warning sign that that person is really not trying to win or up their game. And we both talk about this at times in our writings. Heart engagement really matters in sales. Yeah, it's brain.
Winning the heart first.
You got to get the heart. And
Yeah.
so many sales managers are forgetting that. And when you see a salesperson whose heart's not engaged for whatever reason, and they're not interested in getting better, you probably have a problem. And we need to challenge that person and potentially even begin to put them in an informal type of plan where you're coaching them up harder, or you may have to coach them out, because complacency just will ruin your culture and it'll ruin your team. So it's just a warning.
Okay. So, as we chat, I have one of my formulas that, because what you talked about, informal plan, the next step will be a formal plan,
Mhm.
which some companies call a PIP, Performance Improvement Program. And my approach to sales leadership is everyone should be on a SIP, a sales improvement plan. That's coaching,
It
right?
is.
We should all be working a plan to get better. You talk about upping your game. That's what a SIP is. And if that becomes common practice as part of your cadence, right, then everyone's working to up their game, improve performance. We all have areas where we can improve, but 100. And there's some companies I work with where they have older reps and they say, oh, I don't want to coach these people because they're senior and they don't want to be coached. And it's probably all true, but it is a sign.
Yeah, and that's what you're describing is also sales management malpractice. And I see that. I mean, I see managers who are lazy or they're fearful. And it's not just that they don't like conflict, it's that they're afraid if they push on this person, that person may get uncomfortable and leave them. And then they'll have the hassle of an empty territory or having to recruit
Of course.
somebody. And I look at that person, I say, you're kidding yourself. That's malpractice. Your job is to coach people up. And if you have someone particularly who's underperforming and you're walking on eggshells because you're afraid to show them their results or challenge them where they can improve, you're not doing your job. And that's a big problem. And it's weird in sales because sales is like this great mystery of how it works. Managers will often let underperformance go and go and go, and they look the other way like a blind eye, and they're a prisoner of hope that it's going to fix itself.
Hope is not a strategy.
No, it's terrible. So
Yeah.
it's just a warning. It's your job as a sales manager to confront performance. And if that means having a challenging conversation with somebody, it doesn't mean threatening them. And as Stephen said, it doesn't mean the legal performance improvement plan. But there's nothing wrong. I call it informal remediation or coach up. There's nothing wrong with you sitting down with one of your people and saying, hey, we've been having this conversation for months in our one-on-one. Your trajectory isn't going the right way. We have to get this turned around. I'm going to help you, but I need you to help yourself. Let's put some stuff in writing. I'll spend more time with you. I need you to double up some efforts, but I need more. And you know you need more. And there's nothing inappropriate, and you don't even need permission to have that conversation from HR or legal, but you need to start that. Because otherwise, in fact, I'll just say differently. If you hired this person or you've allowed them to be on your team for a while, unless they're a cancer in your organization and they should go because they're killing the culture and other reasons.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like as a manager, you owe it to that person to invest in them and try to raise their game. They're on your team.
Yeah. And honesty, most people appreciate when you're honest with them as opposed to not. And okay, so let's move forward.
Sure.
Let's talk about the biggest obstacles. Okay. We're coming into a year. We talked about cadence. We talked about coaching, right? what are some of the obstacles that managers are facing? And a lot of our talk is about some very simple basics, right? That need to be put in place. So as people say, what's the future of sales leadership? Anyways, I don't want to go there, but tell me, if you look from a basics perspective, what are the biggest obstacles to success for sales leaders?
Yeah, I'm gonna depress some people
Oh
with this
no,
response.
no, don't go there. No, teasing you. Go.
Uh, some of the biggest obstacles are your own company and your senior leaders in your company who are clueless and they have lost sight of the sales manager's job. So they bury you in corporate crap and they drag you to every imaginable meeting and they bother you all day long asking for data and projections and information because they're not happy with what's in the CRM. And you end up being dragged around to meetings and nonstop stuff that has nothing to do with leading the sales team or driving revenue. So the
Yes.
obstacle,
Yes.
unfortunately, is sometimes the people who are supposed to be behind you, helping you and leading you, because they've lost their minds and they're under pressure. And sometimes it's a public company and the quarter's coming, and sometimes it's a control freak, high ego, privately held senior executive. Whatever the case, it's the lack of understanding of your primary job as a sales manager. And when you don't own your priorities, coaching and field work, one-on-one accountability, great team meetings, you get lost and you don't own your own calendar and you don't time block and plan yourself, and you become a victim to what everyone else in the company wants you to do, and you end up struggling and maybe even failing. And it's a hard one to bring up because it's discouraging because you're fighting City Hall. But if you're really going to win as a manager, you have got to take control of your priorities and your calendar. And sometimes the people in your company and the people above you or at the very top are not helping you do that. So there's my sermon. I don't know if that was too dangerous, but that's what I
Oh,
see.
I would describe it with different words, but the biggest problem all leaders face, and the bosses face this too, the senior leaders, is time, right? And the time that you spend on minutia. I talk about the minutia of the job because we all get phone calls. I got one here. Uh, we get phone calls, we get texts, we get emails. It's worse than the old days, right? Where we didn't have all these things coming in, and of course meetings and whatever else your reports you're asked to pull. And the end of the day, if you're not focused on what's going to drive your business, you're not driving your business. And I'm a pen to paper guy. I assume you are too, because you got to put it in your calendar. And some of it, sometimes people don't want to be doing some of the main things like coaching, but sometimes people truly don't have time because they're bogged down with minutia. And a great time to look at your year is even having those discussions with your boss. Because if sales reps are busy, shipping samples or shipping product, well, they're not selling. If managers are busy, writing reports or reading reports or being called into meetings about nonsense, sales don't happen. And we know the stats, right? Sales managers who spend more time coaching, outperform those who don't. So if what you're doing is spending time in meetings with senior people, then you're not coaching. Okay, so you know what? I think there's one obstacle to success, and if you talk about time management, how does that go?
Well, it's the oldest conversation right out there. What amazes me is here we are on the verge of 2020, and what's going on, right? What's the biggest challenge? It's time.
It
Right? One
is.
of my friend Anthony Iannarino, he says this all the time. You can't renew it. Once you spend it, it's gone. And if you don't own it, you're screwed. And the world, one of my favorite senior executives at a West Coast tech company, she's always warning her sales managers, it's not going back, right?
Yeah.
Slack and IM and email and texting and all the stuff we're connected to here, it's not going to go back the other way. You better figure out how to adapt to this and get more selfish. I call it being selfishly productive,
Yeah.
where you own your time and you work on stuff that moves the needle, because no one's going to help you do this. And you're going to struggle because you're not going to produce the results because other people are putting work on your plate and driving your calendar. And at the end of the year, they're going to look at you and go, well, you didn't hit your number, sales manager. And it's
That's what
because
always happens, right?
yes, but you have to own it. So you better
And you
get
have
a
to
really
say,
good handle on the high value priorities. That's why I spend so much time with sales managers talking about that topic.
Yeah.
So big.
And there's a magic word to use. No, right? No, I'm working on X, Y, and Z. But the thing is, if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what your big payoff activities are, then you say yes to everything, and then everything is the same. So I'm with you. In fact, yeah, I don't even want to go deeper, but time, I call it focus, right? Are you focused on the right priorities? Is that where you're spending your time? Do you put it in your calendar first? Is it there? Otherwise, your calendar gets filled up with minutia.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of time, my friend, I'm getting close to my end here.
Okay, so you're so cute.
Good segue.
So as you would probably say, we can talk forever. So we went deep as opposed to broad, which is good. So if you had one piece of advice, and there's lots of good stuff in what we talked about for a sales leader to kick off the year, what do they need to do to be successful? Just give me one piece of advice, and then we'll move forward.
Wow. One piece of advice. I already gave a strong one in the beginning, which I'll remind people about.
Yes, go ahead.
The priority of the one-on-one meeting and accountability. So I'm going to say it a little differently. The advice I'm going to give you for this year is don't ignore your top people. There are a lot of people in management who default to spending most of their time with their problem children, and it sucks their energy and it doesn't produce the results. And when I first got into management, my dad said to me, Michael, he's the only person that calls me Michael.
Oh,
Michael,
okay.
don't ignore your top people. They know what to do with your coaching. And when you really need results, they know how to bring it in. And just last year, I was working with a giant tech company in the big data space, and they took their own medicine and they studied their own sales managers. And what they discovered was, of hundreds of managers around the globe, their top producing sales managers spent double the time with the top performing reps than the average sales manager. So it's so funny. It's counterintuitive. We think if we overinvest in our struggling people, we're going to move the needle. And what actually the data is saying is no, when you overinvest your struggling people, they continue to struggle. You rescue a few of them, but the people you're ignoring are the ones that can really drive business. So don't ignore your top producers. One, you don't want to lose them, because nothing hurts worse than losing an A player. And don't assume that they're happy and staying just because they're on top or making a lot of money. 3 times I was the #1 salesperson and I left for 3 different reasons. You got to keep the heart engaged. You got to meet with that person. So if you want to have a great year, you really want to push results, spend a little extra time with your best people and see how you can support them and what obstacles you might need to be removing, and that their hearts are engaged, and you'll be amazed at what happens from that.
Show them the love. Mike, I'm going to show
you some love, buddy. Big hug to Canada.
Hug back
Thanks
to
for having
you.
me on your show.
So thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your great insights. And if you break it down, and it's not about doing fancy things, but doing basics really well and knowing what those are. So kudos to you and ongoing success. And thank you for joining me on my show.
Thanks. Here's to great sales leadership for all of your listeners. Thank you for having me, my friend.
Cheers.
Great fireside chat. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And for those of you who've hung in, I've got something special for you. I'm going to give you a special offer to help you to start crushing your sales numbers in 2019. I've broken down performance into 3 zones. One, I call for those sales leaders who are crushing it, or 100% or over, are in the crushing it zone. You're making big bonus. Your team is content. You feel like you're making impact. We all want to live in the crushing it zone. Then if you're below 100% and you're between 90 and 99.9, you're struggling. You're in the caution zone. Things are a lot tougher. You had a tough time finishing off the year, and not everyone is making bonus. And that's probably 30 to 40% of managers. And then there's folks who are in what I call the danger zone. And you know what the danger zone is. You're below 90% of quota, and you're struggling to make your sales numbers. Life is not as good as it can be. So ask yourself where you finished off the last year and see what you're going to do differently. If you're struggling, what are you going to do differently in the new year to make an impact on your sales. Okay? And sales leadership is not about making speeches. It's not about attributes. It's about results. So as a sales leader, we all want to be in the crushing it zone, and I'm going to help you find ways to get there. And the one solution I have, and I'll share with you why coaching and effective coaching that's done frequently and methodically can have a tremendous impact and move you out of whatever zone you're in into the crushing it zone. Research from Corporate Executive Board shows that highly effective coaches drive 19% more sales than their less effective counterparts. Yet, only 7% of sales managers are effectively coaching, according to Dave Kirtland and Associates. So we provide you with the Focus Sales Coaching, which offers you a step-by-step video instructions workbook that you can go back and look over and understand and learn and become really good at coaching. The second thing is there's a 17% increase in sales for coaches who are out more often than their coaching counterparts who are not out in the field very frequently. The only problem is, according to Dave Kirtland and Associates, only 14% of sales managers spend enough time in the field coaching. So we provide you with tools to plan your coaching time and to track your coaching time, because that's going to make a big impact on your overall sales. And the last statistic that came from CSO Insight showed that sales coaches who follow a coaching methodology get help to close 17% more sales than their counterparts who don't follow a formal coaching methodology. The only problem is, according to research that we've done in the STARS Sales Manager Report, is that only 44% of companies follow a formal coaching process. So, with Focus Sales Coaching, we have a proven coaching process that follows 4 steps and it involves using a coaching mindset. We'll teach you our system so you can have a proven methodology and close more sales. So at the end of the day, you know the opportunity. If you're in any of those zones, whether it be the caution zone or the danger zone, you know the opportunity to get out of that is coaching. And as Nike says, it's really up to you to just do it. I've provided you with a solution that will help you move into the crushing it zone. It'll help you make bigger bonuses. It'll help pump up your team and help you feel like you're making tremendous impact on your sales. So all you need to do is sign up, and I'll give you a free coaching session to make sure you can effectively implement the methodology, and we'll give it to you at a special price. And all you need to do is go to the simple URL to get a workbook and to get access to the Focus Sales Coaching course, which you can take as many times as you want. You can practice, you can go chapter by chapter, and all you need to do is go to www.starresults.com/2019. If you want to have a kick-ass year in 2019 and you're not getting the performance you need, I highly suggest you check out Focus Sales Coaching, because you want to live in the crushing it zone.